We speak now with the President and Chief Economist of Credit Rating and Investor Services Philippines, Inc. He is also fellow at the Center for People Empowerment in Governance, Emmanuel Leyco. Good to have you back on, Noel. Welcome to the program.
Glad to be back, and thank you for the invitation on a topic that is really very relevant these days.
Super relevant, in fact. So what do you make of what you're observing so far in the way the investigations and all the assumptions are coming along?
I think it's a great introduction to the budget deliberation that all these so-called flood control projects and the anomalies surrounding them are now discussed wide in the open. So that's good, and I hope that the investigation will come with a concrete resolution to how these trillions of projects, trillions of pesos in projects were wasted and will be avoided in the future.
Well, what is concrete at this point? What are you looking for as you're hoping for some kind of resolution?
I think we want to have to see the evidence and who are the ones involved in this web of corruption in government. This is not just the contractors, and I think hearing from the privileged speech of Senator Lacson yesterday, there is a web of participants in this syndicate, apparently, that is really organized in order to plunder the country's resources.
You know, as I was preparing for our conversation, I was drawn to a philstar.com article that came out yesterday, posted by Jean Mangalus, which says as the calls for accountability intensify, the cyclones are overwhelming communities. And the contrast raises a stark question. How much has been spent to prevent floods? And also how many lives have still been lost? So in light of the recent floods that have paralyzed much of Metro Manila in the previous month, what role do you think corruption played in exacerbating the vulnerabilities that communities now face and the impact it's had on economic resilience as a whole?
Corruption has a lot to do with it. If the flood control projects were properly implemented, properly in place, I think the damage would have been minimized. If we go back to Undoy in 2009, the estimated loss to the economy was like 11 billion pesos. And there is a study that I'm reviewing now, and it estimates that with a 20% probability that the big floods will come again, and it already did, it can cost us about 300 billion pesos to the whole economy. And remember, they're not just calling it the direct impact of the flooding, but also operational disruption to the economy. And that means logistics, that means productivity losses, that means people are not able to come to work because of the flooding.
And also the lives lost. To say the least, that really is something that you'd want to avoid in a situation like this. The multilaterals have spoken up. ADB, IMF, and the World Bank have all estimated that the cost of corruption is 20% on any given budget. Mm-hmm. Would that be right? Or could it be higher?
That will be about right, but based on what we've been hearing, what we've been following, it can be anywhere from 20%, 30%, or even 40%. From the presentations we heard, it's like only 40% of the budget allocated for infrastructure projects were left to implement the project. That is a lot. And if we go to the budget with trillions of pesos going into the capital outlay, that will cost us billions of pesos in corruption. And remember, we are borrowing to finance this project. So this is not only a direct or midterm or immediate impact, but it's going to be long-term because we're borrowing long-term to finance our projects.
And not to mention the lost opportunities that the development does bring. If we do fund spurious projects, then that would also have an impact on the kind of projects we bring out there to the communities.
Yes.
Substandard, ghost projects even.
Yes, and that would be the most obvious. Remember, the budget that is being proposed now is about 22% of the GDP. So the potential for the budget to stimulate growth in the economy is there. It's a lot. 22% of the GDP is a lot. However, if 40% of our budget is being plundered or is being wasted, we are not able to stimulate the economy with the use of the budget.
So how much could that cost the economy then? We're still growing at one of the fastest in the ASEAN. We're still being called that despite what's going on here. Have you done up the numbers?
Actually, being identified as the fastest growing economy, I think we have to put that in context. Remember, during the pandemic, we were one of the lowest or the slowest economy in the region, and therefore, starting from a low base, a good 10% would just barely bring us back to the pre-COVID economic level. So I am not going to gloat on the fastest economic growth right now, but I think we have to focus more on how much of our resources are being wasted because of corruption, because of misuse, and because of, corruption is just one of the problems that we have in budgeting. The capacity, the capability of our government agencies, another problem that we have to deal with. So corruption plus the inefficiency, I think, will have to be addressed by our government.
Because it has a big impact on social services, apart from the fact that we don't really have that fiscal space. So what's the worst impact on social services if we do not address this?
Education sector right now is a major casualty here. While education is getting, I think, the biggest chunk these days, as opposed to last year, education is getting a big chunk of the budget. However, if we scrutinize the education budget, only so much is being allocated for the construction of classrooms. And we estimate that that will not leave a dent on the classroom shortage that we are seeing now. Our students, our young students are waking up very early just to be in school at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning, and then go home and be squeezed in those congested classrooms. So the education deficit that we are seeing right now will have to be addressed. That's why when I was talking about the budget, we have to see a budget that will address developmental problems of the country. And number one is education, healthcare, and housing. Looking at the budget, there is not much going into those three major priorities that we should have right now.
Well, thank you so much for that context and insight, Noella. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Emmanuel Leyco of CENPEG.